How's that make you feel, Jake?
I feel good about it, except for he beat me up for like 3 hours.
Well, you totally deserved it.
Well, yeah.
I'm not going to argue that. It's in his face.
It is your face. Your face makes me want to just punch things.
Is there anything I can do about that?
Something about your face that makes me want to just punch you right in the sucker.
Biceps and Bullets, episode, what did we say?
6.
Jake's an avid listener.
Right.
Different lineup today. I'm here with Aaron Jannetti from Endeavor CrossFit.
Hola.
Right?
Yeah. CrossFit Endeavor.
CrossFit Endeavor.
Yeah.
Sorry. Said it backwards. It pisses me off when people say it backwards for me.
I know. Tactical Strength CrossFit.
Not cool. It doesn't flow.
TSCF. TSCF.
And one of our best members, Jake Myers.
Hello?
Hello.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just had actually 2 pretty kick-ass Krav sessions. We've had Aaron here several times, mostly with his heftier partner, Rob.
Yes.
Came solo today.
Hefty indeed. Rob is actually competing in Highland Games today. So
That's right.
He's occupied throwing things.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Throw hard.
The hardest.
So we had a couple seminars today. We had a women's self-defense class and then a close quarters weapons types class. So we had a lot of questions before from members, like what is Krav, how is it different? So I guess kind of take a minute, Mr. Jannetti, and kind of inform us on who you are, where you're from, your athletic background, like growing up, and how you kind of got into Krav and CrossFit and all that.
So like you mentioned, Aaron Jannetti, I run CrossFit Endeavor. It's technically Endeavor Defensive Fitness out in Columbus, Ohio, west side of the Hilliard. Been doing this for a long while actually. So I wasn't really great at sports or anything growing up, but I was always very active. You know what I mean? So we played backyard football, climb trees, ride bikes, all that kind of fun stuff. I would train with the football team and the track team during high school, but then would kind of bail out when the season would actually start. So if that goes to tell you my motivational levels going through middle school and high school, that kind of answers that.
Real reliable.
Yeah, right. Totally reliable. I
think this guy's going to be legit this year. He's going to be a great wingback.
Right?
Fucker, where is he?
Yeah, he's gone. So I saved the coach time dealing with training me because we all knew I wasn't getting anywhere. I was always very athletic. As far as keeping active, I was never one to just kind of slunch over. Even getting into college and things like that. Coming down to Ohio State, always in the gym, always out. We played a lot of ultimate frisbee because obviously we were drunk hippies in college, but you get the idea. So I always stayed pretty active. As far as how I got into Krav and things like that, actually. 2008, it was January 2008, I took a Krav Maga intro at a place called Ohio Krav Maga, and at the time they had a small facility in Gahanna, Ohio. And honestly, man, I was broke, and I didn't know really what I wanted to do. I was still in college at Ohio State, and didn't necessarily know that I was going to do anything with my degree. So I kind of was like, screw it, I'm going to go take
What
this
degree
class.
did you get?
Actually never finished, which is actually kind of fun because if you look at it, I own a business now.
He bailed out right before ceremony.
Yeah,
exactly,
I'm
right?
sensing a theme here.
I'm consistent. No, I kid you not. I actually studied civil engineering and then moved into landscape architecture. And now I travel across the U.S. teaching people how to punch people in the face and lift weights and mobilize properly. So God only knows how I figured that one out. But so I went to an intro, and I just kind of never left. A guy named Mark Slane was actually my first instructor in Krav Maga. And walked in. I had no money. So I literally was like, I'm going to write you this check, but I'm not quite sure it's going to go.
Here's an IOU. You might want to hang on to this one.
But I never left. Man. I was there 7 days a week. At first, I'm sure I was annoying as hell. But no, I just stuck around, and then he was really good. He kind of took me under his wing. Good guy. So he took me under his wing, started, really taking a liking into, how I was training. He bought me my first gi for jiu-jitsu, sent me off and actually paid for my instructor training. Around the same time, Ohio Krav Maga was actually in the same exact parking lot as the original Rogue Fitness. So the original Rogue Fitness was a very, very, very tiny gym.
The original Rogue. When you could call Bill, and he would be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, like, it'd be, well, 9 times out of 10 when you saw Bill, you were getting ready for class, and he would walk in, write a god-awful workout on the board, laugh, and then just walk out because he knew that the instructor that was teaching it was the one who had to bear the suffering of everybody else. But yeah, man. So we went over there. We were training, man. We were, 2008. I was over there training through it. Eddie Clark was there. Eddie Clark, Troy Smith, different Troy Smith, not Ohio State Troy Smith. Katie before her and Bill got married. They were just beating the crap out of people, making them do terrible workouts. And then one day Bill was like, "Hey, I'll become a billionaire." And he
like overnight, it seemed like, yeah.
Right place, right time, and amazing work ethic. That guy, like that whole story is just incredible. Man, Rogue's amazing, great company. But so I started doing CrossFit with them, and that's how I got into CrossFit. And then end of 2008, Mark Slane wanted to expand, so we actually expanded out of Gahanna into Hilliard. Him and I opened up the Hilliard, Ohio Krav Maga, and also CrossFit OKM at the time was our facility out there. So that's kind of how I got into it. Since then, I've been very blessed to have opportunity to train in a lot of great places with a lot of higher up guys. I got my black belt with USKMA in 2010. I got a black belt actually just this year, another black belt about a month ago with Fit to Fight, which is Ryan Hoover down in North Carolina, another great organization. I've trained with IKMF. I've trained with over in Wingate, actually in Israel. We've been to Israel twice, gotten diplomas through the Wingate University, which is like the original core.
Yeah.
Trained with EL, just a bunch of really great guys. I'm blessed. Total opportunity to train with some amazing people, pick and pull things that I thought were great, kind of see how people did it differently. As far as CrossFit, again, same thing. Mm-hmm. We were there at the beginning of Rogue, so it's been crazy to see Rogue grow, but we know a lot of the original guys with Rogue.
Yep.
A lot of the original kind of crazy athletes. It's
right.
It's funny to see where things ended up.
I know.
And this is 2008 to now. Holy crap.
You started 2008. I started about 2009. So it's like I was talking to Forey about this at regionals. It's like there's the OGs that were like Santa Cruz, and then there's the next generation that he referred to us as like the pre-Bockers.
Yeah.
And that's when like me and you and your anchor and all the and Benek and all those guys I think got into it. And then it's like post Reebok, everybody else.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good gyms that are still popping up with that, but you can tell a distinct difference between the ones that are paying $500 a year, the ones that are paying $1,000 a year, and the ones that are paying $3,000 a year now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's old school. It's been crazy to see it. And Krav, same way. Krav in 2008, nobody knew what the hell Krav was at all in any way, shape, or form. And now it's you start to hear little taglines in comedy shows and sitcoms, and people referring to it in different ways, and it's blown up. It's very popular.
Did that get like twice as annoying when people would be like, "Hey, what do you do?" And you're like, "Krav Maga," and they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
and like, yeah, I also do CrossFit. And they're like, "Double, what the fuck is that?"
Yeah, exactly. Actually, when Reebok took over, and I don't know if you experienced this in any way, shape, or form, but when Reebok took over, and like the first CrossFit Games was actually aired or streamed live or whatever it was. Holy amount of phone calls the week after, like, "Hey, I want to be a CrossFit Games athlete." "Oh, that's it. Yeah, just call, and you're a CrossFit Games athlete. That's all." But it's crazy, like overnight stuff like that happened. But yeah, back in the day, you're a Krav Maga instructor. I have no idea what that is, and it's awkward enough to pronounce it, let alone before anybody knew what it was. So,
Krav Maga.
You do Krav Maga, or that Scrav Maga? Scrav Maga, is that what it is? It's Krav Maga. It's harsh Krav Maga, But yeah, nobody's like, "Oh, so you're really a nobody." Well, no, I teach phenomenal athletes and teach people how to fight. I teach law enforcement officers. Yeah, I never heard of it. Oh, awesome. Well, F me then.
Will you teach me the crane?
Teach me crane stance, exactly.
There's no defense. There's no defense.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg, man. So a lot of people still think we do that. "You teach Krav Maga?" "Yeah." "Oh, man, could you kick him in the head?" "Well, I can, but not because of Krav." I could break his knee when he falls to the ground. I could really kick him in the head. That makes life easier. But yeah, man, so that's how I kind of got into it. Opened that first Krav gym. Most recently, about 3 years ago, I went on to my next project, which was Endeavor, which is the facility I run now. So Endeavor Defensive Fitness in Hilliard, we do firearms training, we do Krav Maga, we do basic self-defense, we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, fight conditioning classes, CrossFit classes. We're the home of Project Lift. Holly Mangold is with Muscle Driver now, but she's actually also underneath Project Lift. So she's
stronger than you, Jake.
Holy crap!
She's stronger than you.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too, though.
She's a blast to work with too. So, but yeah, man. So it's been a fun, almost going on 8-year journey.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting better every year.
Sweet.
So.
Cool. With all that said, you mentioned a lot of. Let me pick up the names you dropped, right?
Yes. Name dropping all over the place. That's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, we can say that, but at the same time, it's important to know where people came from and to give credit to where credit's due, just like I always give credit to, Doug Chapman and all that. But there's another name.
And Doug, that's another good one.
Yep.
Yeah. Name dropping left and right.
That's all I'm good for, remember?
Have I mentioned that I know Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Right. I stood within his reach.
I have a picture of shaking his hand. I am also one of the chairmen for the Arnold Sports Festival. Oh, did I need to say that? No, it's okay.
Remind me to ask you about you later. I don't want to stop before we talk about that a little bit too. But going back to Krav, what's the different systems? You mentioned about 3 or 4 different ones. Just like with functional fitness and CrossFit and all that, there are different kind of
starting to kind of break off.
Yeah.
So it's a really good question. Look, there's a lot of different, I guess, quote unquote, national organizations or governing bodies. I guess you can look at it. But kind of same thing. You look back at CrossFit forever ago and the OG crew. Back in the day, really the only two were IKMF and Krav Maga Worldwide. Now, Krav Maga Worldwide is mostly known for really bringing it into the States. A gentleman by the name of Darren Levine, and then IKMF kind of came out to it. Look, anything you get into where it starts to get a foothold and people start to see a little bit of success, breeds drama, right? It breeds people breaking off and starting their own organizations for, whether it's personal reasons or legitimate reasons. It is what it is. It's just kind of the way it works. So, back in the day where there were only 1 or 2 really, I guess, solid governing bodies, they've kind of broken off and expanded. Now, I can't say anything bad about that because we were one of the organizations that did that. USKMA, myself, Terry Rosen, John Burton, Sue Burton, Matt Kissel, Mark Slane, John Lovins, this whole core group of people out of Columbus, Ohio.
I think I know Terry.
Yeah. She still owns Ohio Krav Maga down there. But yeah, so we kind of stepped away, and Mark was the kind of the brainchild behind all this, but he wasn't exactly happy with the way things were going with the organization we were with, so he kind of just stepped away and he said, "Look, I want to do these things my way," and it is what it is. And we dedicated a lot of our time to that. So we broke off and did that. So you have all of these organizations now turning into, we've got Krav Maga Alliance, we've got Krav Maga Global, we've got Universal Krav Maga, you've got Fit to Fight, you have Commando Krav Maga, you have Alpha Krav Maga. I mean, I can go for days.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we're done. I'm done dropping my knowledge bombs. But it's they're all for the most part still doing Krav. You know what I mean? In its truest form. And I was having this conversation a little earlier with one of the people that was in the seminar, but Krav was built. It was made by a gentleman by the name of Emil Lichtenfelder. At least he's the one who coined it and kind of brought it all together. But it was built to be a concept-based system, something that everybody could pick up. You could pick and pull things from different organizations, different backgrounds, different fighting styles, and adapt them into it. It was never meant to be this strict traditional martial art. It just wasn't, right? Well, so there's good and bad that goes with that. I think it's kind of good. People get different ideas. They approach things differently, which means we all kind of grow from it. But there's still drama behind all of it. It's just kind of the way it works. So you have different organizations. There's some that I would say are amazing. There's some that I would say are pretty good. There's some that I might say aren't exactly what I think is good self-defense in some form or fashion. But it's not. It's still Krav at its core for the most part. Now it's just what's my flavor or taste of Krav.
Right.
There's the guys that we're really close with right now, Fit to Fight out of Charlotte. I like them because they're doing things a lot differently than anybody else ever did. A lot of the other systems, even though they kind of talk trash about each other, they were still doing things the same way. There was still some flashy stuff that was never needed. I mean, a lot of systems were still teaching, spinning back kicks and kind of some silly stuff, which really, as far as I was concerned along the way, and, Mark used to resonate this as well, but it's filler stuff. You get into higher levels,
what else
I
are you
already
gonna
understand
do?
the fundamentals, like, well, how do we make this longer? Oh, we'll do this. You know what I mean? I can see both sides of the coin. Emi, in his traditional martial art, had a lot of spinning stuff into it. It is what it is. But without going off on a huge tantrum with that, the organizations are split Some of them because they're doing things differently, and some of them because there's drama.
Gotcha.
The guys I go with FTF, I really like what they're doing because they're oversimplifying.
Yeah.
Not oversimplifying. They're properly simplifying everything.
Virtuosity.
Down. Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So it's all fundamentals. Everything they do from day one seems to just roll to the next level, roll to the next level, roll to the next level. It's very simple. People can pick up on it. They can train it very appropriately, and they're not losing any of the essence of Krav Maga in any way, shape, or form. I think they're doing that a lot better than everybody else. I'm learning. I've been, like I said, I've been doing this since 2008. I've trained with a lot of guys, and I'm learning a lot from them and their organization, and that's huge. Continue looking for new ways to do it. I'm favoring towards them right now. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm growing from them even more as a long-term instructor. If you're training Krav, I would say you're doing better than if you're training karate as far as actual defense goes, but without.
Don't tell it to Scott. Somewhere he's coming back with the ridge hand that's gonna crush someone.
Knife chop my head off.
Cringing at home right now.
But I'd say in the long run, man, there's some organizations that I probably wouldn't go, hey, you should go check these guys out. But for the most part, it hasn't been completely tainted yet. It's too young.
Yeah.
Still a pretty young system, so they haven't completely screwed it up. There's a couple people that are doing a damn good job of trying, though.
How would you define Krav Maga if somebody just comes up and asks you, what is it? Because I had never heard of it until,
Well, look, the easiest way to answer it, man, is it's a straightforward self-defense system. The term martial art a lot of times is kind of synonymous to people with gis and high kicks and old Bruce Lee and any type like Steven Seagal type movies, stuff like that. That's not what we are. We are a general basic self-defense system built for the public, is what it is. So I don't care if you're missing a damn right arm, if you're strong, if you're small, if you're fast, if you're slow, whatever it is. The system's built to kind of adapt for you. So we are a self-defense system. Krav Maga itself, all it stands for is the words contact combat. You're in,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Exactly.
I did
So
not
it's
know
contact
that.
combat. That's it. So we are in contact and we're freaking fighting. Welcome to fighting world.
Yeah.
But that's what Krav Maga is in a nutshell as far as basics go down. It's self-defense. The easiest way to look at it, yeah.
Well, and I think it's modernized enough to. I mean, you're always going to have the argument like which system's better, which system's more effective.
Always.
And like what Krav does and what you touched on is when it comes in contact with a question like, oh, this from jiu-jitsu, and you take the parts that work, but it's also modernized and updated. Like Shuri-Ryu Karate, God bless it for its traditional forms and long-standing principles and all that, but it's not feudal Japan anymore either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in going along with that, here's the one thing you have to understand too. Like karate, jiu-jitsu, all that type of stuff, you get in these fights, and I get in these fights all the time. God forbid I say that jiu-jitsu is not a self-defense system. I'll get stabbed by 20 other different ways. I love jiu-jitsu. It's phenomenal. It's a great system. Hell, we teach it at our gym. But it's the context of how you're training.
Yes.
So if I put on a gi and I'm barefoot and I'm following a set of rules, I'm not training self-defense. It's just fact.
Right.
It's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
You're training sport, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
So, but I could take jits, and now we take all the movements like you said. I take those same exact style movements. I get rid of the bells and whistles, the frills, the rules. We implement striking. We implement the fact that now we're on concrete. There might be broken glass. There might be 4 other people to deal with. And I use jiu-jitsu teaching it that way. Well, now we're looking at Krav Maga.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's not so much about the techniques. I tell people all the time, if it didn't work, it's not Krav Maga. If it worked, it's Krav Maga. That's pretty much the way we really look at it, you know? You can have a phenomenal jiu-jitsu fighter that spent his entire life doing jiu-jitsu, and he could possibly beat the living piss out of a really good Krav guy.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, to increase your chance of surviving a self-defense scenario, you better be training in the context of self-defense. You better understand the different things of, look, if I'm going to, we were talking about different ways to get out of side control tonight. It's 10 times easier to get out of side control if I can jam my thumb a full knuckle deep into your eyeball. Awesome, right?
Yep.
That was the hardest part about it.
Yeah.
You want to strike so bad. This would be so much easier. I just punch you in the face.
Yep. So we're forcing you to learn the movements, but then you implement striking. It makes life way easier. So.
Yeah, game changer.
Yeah.
Some observations that I had. First one, so we had, obviously, this is a CrossFit gym. We had CrossFitters coming in here for the most part. Even a well-conditioned CrossFitter, when they come out and do a session of Krav, gets fucking smoked.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Man, it's all. There's a couple of different things. But you know, when you look at monostructural in the CrossFit book, you generally have double unders, rowing, and running.
Right.
You throw freaking fighting into that mix, man, in all freaking day. Man, it's crazy conditioning. It's using a lot of movements that people aren't used to. You know, if you look at a lot of what CrossFit does, we kind of move in a very straight plane for the most part.
That was what I was going to talk about next, yeah.
Not a lot of rotational type stuff,
Very
right?
linear.
Yes, very linear. So if we go and we start adding rotation into it, well, now we're automatically getting you into a different position, working different muscles you're not used to. So physically, it's a little bit different, right? It's just like anything else. But psychologically is really where you start to get it. And we talked about it a little bit out there. We had, you know, the one lady that goes, I found myself, I'm not breathing. You know, I'm holding my breath while I'm doing this. Well, as you start to kind of get out of your comfort zone, your brain gets a little freaked out. You get a little higher heart rate. Higher heart rate gets me a little more tired, a little faster. I can't control it. It's more psychological than anything. And your body stops efficiently utilizing the things that it can normally do, like breathing properly, like regulating your heart rate. So it just smokes you. You're getting them outside of the comfort zone. You know, it's psychologically and a little bit physically as far as different changes go.
Yeah.
Plus, you want to talk about competition. You put two people together against a workout, they push each other.
Right.
Well, now I actually link those two people up, grabbing onto each other, and you tell them one of them's going to win, one of them's going to lose. And you get a hell of a lot of effort out of them. So, yeah, I mean, it smokes them, and that's the best part.
Yeah, and it
absolute best.
It doesn't matter. All right, 50%. All right, that's 100, 110.
Yeah.
All right, 50%.
There's always that one up. It's ego, man. Guy code. We tell people all the time, guy code. I push into you, you push into me harder. That's just the way it works. So, yeah, it'll smoke you, man. But it goes the other way, too. I got fighters, and I flip them over to the CrossFit side. They're uncomfortable. They don't know the movements. They're higher heart rate, things like that. It's crazy. So, truly, you know, and I know we're going to get this a little bit more, but fighting should be implemented in CrossFit training in some form or fashion.
Yeah,
you know,
Greg Amundsen
Blauer's
talks
doing
about that.
Yeah, Greg talks about it all the time. You know, but Blauer's been doing a decent job of bringing some of that stuff into it. I know they were doing a striking cert for a little while. I know it was a little, wasn't the most successful program they've done, but
that dude was good though.
Really, yeah, fantastic.
He's legit.
Yeah, fantastic. But I don't know. It's you can't. It's not quantifiable as much.
Right.
Right. So like I can't sit there and go, hey, you PR'd your roundhouse kick by 30 pounds of force. You know, unless I buy thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Yeah.
So it's for a lot of people, it's not as satisfactory. You know, it's not as. I don't have a to go get it, which is too bad because I'll tell you what, the people at our gym that go to both sides and they do the fight stuff and they do the CrossFit side are by far the most conditioned, prepared, and
more well-rounded.
Ready to go. Yeah, very well-rounded. Plus, in real life, if somebody were to actually jump them, they actually have a little bit of background to work with. So
yeah,
it's good stuff.
One thing that I posted an article on it a while back. If you look at like 1950s PE, one, everybody should do that just to see those old videos and stuff. They're just amazing, the calisthenics and stuff. But they also implemented. They used to do boxing and wrestling and all those things that they don't do anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a wrestling block that was about 3 days, I think, in high school, and that was just so the wrestling coach could try to recruit and not have 5 guys on the team. But
hence the exclusion. A lot of those programs is why, you know, and this will probably piss off a lot of people, but.
Good. Divisive.
But it's why we're a weaker society in general. There's so many. It's everything. It's psychological from top to bottom. You know what I mean? Back in the day when you used to be forced to do PE stuff. You did your gymnastic stuff. There was the running. You had to do a little bit of boxing and wrestling. They were a tougher, better, more well-rounded, harder working generation with not the sense of entitlement we have today. You take a lot of that stuff away. The ones who are doing it are the ones who are a lot more disciplined. You know, and actually get out there and they get things doing. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
And if you brought that stuff back and you implement it a little bit more, it's crazy what you get.
But Johnny doesn't like to sweat.
No, Johnny does not.
So Johnny's going to sit over there.
And he definitely doesn't like to get punched in the face. I'll tell you what, though, I don't trust anybody that hasn't been punched in the face.
Yes.
I agree.
No one.
Yes.
You've never been punched in the sock?
You have no idea what you're going to do
until
that first punch.
Yep.
Until you shit yourself, get it over with, move forward.
Well, Brian McKenzie talks about that a little bit with endurance. I think he calls it an orb experience.
Yeah.
So basically it's like really hard mental toughness training, and you get kind of like that. You're just following that orb, like you kind of zone out.
Yeah.
I think I'm understanding it right, but it's the same thing. If you just get,
if you're not, it's gonna be hilarious.
Right.
If you get, dude, that guy out there in Indiana just slaughtered your orb theory. Shit.
But it's kind of the same thing. Like you get clocked in the face, or I mean, even in football, you get it a little bit. Like you get your bell rung, everything just about goes black on you. So you don't really know what kind of person you are until you face that kind of adversity.
I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. And in the best part about it is 9 times out of 10, you'd be surprised at how tough you are if you do take a punch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody kind of just assumes, because they've never been hit, but assumes that they'll just crash. Some people have glass jaws, but you'd be surprised.
I was actually really impressed with some of the women this morning from the self-defense class.
Uh-huh.
He
women
told them,
fierce, man.
dude, it was crazy. Yeah. Open hand. And, I mean, normally the stereotypical is you hear loud grunts and slaps, and no, like I was getting pushed back.
Yeah.
They were doing excellent.
Yeah. And a lot of that really, really comes down to the way you approach those seminars. You know what I mean? And again, not to sit here and toot my own horn, I had a lot of people that showed me the way to get to where I'm at right now. But you can go in and you can teach a 2-hour women's self-defense seminar and make them worse than they were before they got there if you give them just like a nonsensical BS sense of confidence and that worked, yay, fantastic. But that's not how we run them, man. We tell them straight up, this is gonna suck. You need to be aggressive. You need to get angry. You suck it out of them.
Yeah.
And once they find it, hell
it's
have
scary.
no fury
it's
like a woman.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It really is.
It's that psychology of giving them permission.
Yes.
You have permission to do this. We expect you to do this.
Yeah. All too often, ladies are supposed to be prim and proper. There ain't nothing better than a chick who can throw a mean right cross. Hence my wife. You want to see like a wicked left hook. That's why I do whatever she tells me to do. I taught her well. She could hit me.
Yeah, continuing on with that, the psychology of it, kind of shifting gears and looking at it from a law enforcement side.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about Krav in general is it teaches action, action now, and not waiting, not choreographed. Shut your eyes, open your eyes, and respond.
Right.
You need to do something right now. And from like seeing rookies on the street, and even myself being in situations being brand new, almost a decade ago now, you don't realize things until you're put in that situation, forced to respond. So it forces action, so it prevents freezing.
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the hardest things. And you'll hear it a lot when we present our seminars and things like that. But I tell people, there's no magic. There's never a magic solution, right? Everybody in some form or fashion is going to experience the same exact issues or like timelines in fighting. Everybody freezes. Everybody does. The difference is, are you freezing for an entire second, an entire 5 seconds, or are you freezing for a half a second, right? That's the difference. So what we're doing is there's never magic, right? We just increase your chances, increase your ability, increase your chances of survival. I tell people that all the time. None of this crap's magic, right? Shit happens. I've dedicated my life to teaching self-defense. I go around, I do it all the time. I spend a lot of time continually training. I'm not one of those dudes who just, hey, I got my black belt in 2010. I'm done training. I'm, fucking awesome. That's not how it works, right? Continually training, and we dedicate a lot of time to that stuff. But I could very easily walk out to my car, somebody sneak up behind me, shoot me in the back of the head, and none of that shit mattered.
Yep.
It's just life, right? Life isn't fair. So you get that kind of sensibility. We're increasing your chances, end of story. That's it. We're increasing your chances of survival. That's it. Well, what we're doing is, with the freeze, everybody's going to freeze. We're increasing or decreasing, in this instance, the amount of time you're going to get frozen, right?
Yep. And that's a big thing about, like, you look at officers that, man, this thing's pissing me off, that have a hard time in fights, or they lose a fight, or they don't know how to respond, and they've never been in that situation physically, and they've never even put themselves in that mentally.
Yeah.
So being in the different various situations, like, flowing through the drills, it just adds that component. So you've been there before, you know how to respond, you can go quicker.
Yeah, well, I mean, in freezing, if you understand, without going into a whole like anatomy lesson and things like that, but if you understand the freeze, the whole concept of it, once you get an adrenaline dump, you're processing a lot of information. Your brain kind of goes into kind of automatic instinctual mode, right? So it's kind of flipping through, Rob Pincus always used the term, flipping through the Rolodex of shit you've seen in your life. Right? So if somebody comes at me and they brandish a knife on me, I'm going to freeze. My body's going to go, when have I seen this? When have I seen this? When have I seen this? When have I seen this?
Yep.
Right? if you've never seen it, your body's going to keep going. When have I seen this? When have I seen this? When have I seen this? When have, over and over again. That's what makes that freeze longer.
Observe,
exactly.
orient, decide, act.
So if you get people in those scenarios and you present them with at least a solution, like you said earlier, getting them to act and respond onto something, you have a lot higher likelihood to make that a very short freeze. Right? We're not saying that you're going to come up with the best answer in the world, but you're going to come up with an answer. You're going to start to actually get into into defending yourself, into fighting back, and that's what really kind of gets you going forward. It's not so much about having an amazing technique to get out of it. It's about being as aggressive as soon as possible and turning it from a quote-unquote defensive situation into an offensive situation. And that's all we're doing. We're giving people that card to put into their Rolodex, so when they freak out, they have something to lash onto. Something that's actually at least functional and makes sense.
Right. Any plan's better than no plan.
Any plan is better than no plan. And even with no plan, your plan should be break shit, right?
Right.
Aggressively.
Yes.
That's at least a better plan than hope to God I don't get stabbed. Really good. Anybody who wants to look that information up, there's a gentleman by the name of Rob Pincus, if you've never heard of him.
He's your firearms guy, right?
Yeah, so we do a lot of firearm stuff with him. He's also a small percentage owner of the Endeavor kind of project we have out there. But whether you like him or not, there's plenty of people that don't like him. But whether you like him or not, he's really taken 2 steps further to kind of explain that stuff, what the body does psychologically, under adrenal stress type things like that. He has a great DVD series where that's pretty much all he talks about. It's dynamic encounters and kind of breaking down what the brain does and how you need to be training. And again, love him or hate him, it's great information. You'd be an idiot not to check it out. So
kind of like Grossman. Are you familiar with his stuff at all?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Actually, Rob does a lot of stuff with Colonel Grossman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Grossman's a fantastic guy to look into. Gavin DeBecker, who has Gift of Fear.
Yep.
Fantastic series. Rory Miller, great guy to look into. There's a lot of phenomenal non-Krav guys that they're not correlating to Krav, but Krav's it's the same concepts. It's all the same stuff, man. Nothing's changed. It's just people are actually starting to see that, like, hey, axe hands aren't exactly the way to go anymore. It's a little more general, dealing with some realistic stuff. So
cool. Question from #JFox.
JFox.
If you could simplify, or if you had to simplify self-defense or personal defense into 3 priorities, top 3 priorities, what would that be? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's there's 2 ways, and both of them will be 3 parts. So hopefully this will help you a little bit.
6 parts.
6 parts. Yeah, 2 3-parters, technically 6-parter, but not so much. I look at it one of 2 ways when I teach people. The first thing I always tell people is you limit the amount of damage you take, you increase the amount of damage they take, and you get away to safety as soon as possible, right? And so if you can look at that any way you want. If I pull a gun on you, by getting outside of the gun or controlling the muzzle to make sure the bullet doesn't get away, I'm limiting the amount of damage I take, right? Once I'm into that instance, I beat the living piss out of you. That's increasing the amount of damage you take, and then when I feel that I can get away safely, find cover, find help, all that kind of fun stuff, I get away. So if I look at it that way, I can generalize anyway, right? The other way you can look at it is address the immediate danger, whatever that is. So again, if you're pointing a gun at me, the immediate danger is being in the line of fire. Address the immediate danger, strike as absolutely soon as possible, and get away to safety, right? So, or keep hitting until you're safe, however you want to look at it. The fact of the matter is, I have to deal with a threat, right? I have to address whatever the threat is, because if I just throw a punch while they're throwing a punch and we both get knocked out like Apollo and Rocky, that doesn't help anybody.
I was just going to say that, Rocky 3.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, I got to address that thing, but as soon as possible, I need to be hurting them and hitting them, no matter who you are. A really good defense is an amazing offense as far as we're concerned. So you got to hit. So limit the amount of damage you take, increase the amount of damage they take, and then as soon as possible, make your way to safety. Safety can be finding 5 friends, running. Safety can be getting behind a door. Safety can be, I know there's a cop over there. Safety can mean if I can get behind this door, there's a gun, and I know I'm properly trained to use a firearm if I can get to it. So hit them, decrease the amount of damage you take, get to safety as soon as possible. That's self-defense in a nutshell. I don't care what system you're training under.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You look very pretty today.
Oh, I was your boo all day.
You were my boo all day today.
Yeah.
You talked about Pincus.
Yes.
Talk a little bit more about him and what you guys do specifically with firearms trainings.
So Rob, he runs a couple of different things, but his flagship program is a program called Combat Focused Shooting. And essentially what he's been able to do is take firearms, and again, mainly for what I'm going to focus on as far as combat-focused shooting goes, we're talking handguns, and for most instances, we're talking taught to civilians. Now, there's a difference between, getting kind of ambushed and then knowing you're going to do a fight as far as you get it. So when we talk about combat-focused shooting, we're going to talk mainly handguns. Although you can apply it to carbine-type stuff. You can apply it to law enforcement. It's a general idea. It's kind of like Krav. It can be applied anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to take somebody and actually teach them how to legitimately use a handgun for self-defense purposes, right? So we're not trying to teach you anything tactical that we brought back from the Navy SEALs where you're doing, spin rolls and all this other type stuff. We take what your body kind of does under stress. There's plenty of them out there.
Can you teach me to bend the bullet?
Yeah, right.
That's all I need.
Actually, if you haven't seen Matt Best's newest video about being
hilarious.
Tactical, go watch that shit because it is hilarious. But it's on point, man. It is so on point. Anybody who has any service record in any way, shape, or form can tell somebody that they're going to teach them firearm stuff, and people go, "Oh my God, well he was in the military. That makes sense." Yeah, I'm going to teach you how to clear a house because that's what you need to do. No,
Well, even not to interrupt you, but even
you did interrupt me, and I appreciate it.
Yep. Well, too bad. It's my show. But I mean, even some of the military guys that come in to teach our SWAT conferences and stuff, like there are certain concepts that do not apply. There's certain concepts that apply directly.
Yes.
But even the military guys, like the high-speed guys that have never been cops and haven't taken the time to understand the role of domestic law enforcement, there's things that absolutely miss.
Right. And then if you don't make that separation when you're teaching, you have to teach to your audience.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're teaching. You have to teach to your audience. So that gets lost sometimes. So what I feel that Rob's done the best with is literally taking this combat-focused shooting program, taking what really happens in real-life scenarios, how your body reacts, the stresses you go through, and then teaches it in a very direct, straightforward, concept-based firing method where the majority of it is unsighted fire. Because if you honestly think while somebody's trying to stab you in the face, which, look, if I'm going to pull a gun and shoot somebody, it has to be lethal force. Or if we're talking legality purposes, for the most part, I've got to feel some type of high-end lethal force threat. It's not, some dude was hitting on my wife, so I'm going to pull out a gun and shoot him. It's not okay. Self-defense. No, I don't know how things are in Fort Wayne. But
it's hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough.
I did watch a fist fight last night because some girl wouldn't dance with him.
But it was a fist fight. That's the difference.
It could have been a weapon anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Damn it. You're taking my own words and shoving them back at me.
I was in your class.
Yeah, I know. But the fact of the matter is, like, if I'm under, what I would consider a lethal force threat, I'm going to be pretty freaking stressed out. So to tell me that under that type of stress for the average civilian in a realistic scenario, that I'm going to pull my gun out, pop into a weaver stance, close one eye, and look at my sights? Come on, right? It's 9 times out of 10, it's just not going to happen.
I would say not over that.
Right.
Yeah.
I just say 9 times out of 10 for everything. Majority rules.
Probably going to shoot yourself in the leg.
Right. So it's it's both eyes open, unsighted fire. Which, look, he didn't invent unsighted fire. He's a big proponent of it. Learning when to use your sights, when it actually makes sense to use your sights, as opposed to teaching sighted fire first and then unsighted fire as like this side trick.
Mm-hmm.
It's unsighted fire, it's moving, it's understanding lateral movement, it's understanding the real pressures, and then, if you need to use your sights, here's when you would use your sights.
When you think about using your sights.
Exactly,
yes.
You know what I mean? So it's a whole different, it is what it is. But I think he's done a really good job with it. It's great. If you have an opportunity to check out, he also runs or started flagship PDN, which is Personal Defense Network. And the cool thing that I really like about Pincus, and I say you can love him and you can hate him, and he knows it, but I like about what he does with Personal Defense Network is he's not really biased to anything. So he'll have people on there to do DVDs for Kali. He'll have people on there to do DVDs for handgun stuff that's not him. He has guys on there teaching medic. How do you deal with a gunshot wound? How to do cane fighting. He had the guys from NBC out, Jannetti, doing cane fighting and knife fighting and things like that. It's literally a hub for information.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much presented
What's it
as PDN, Personal Defense Network.
Okay.
It's pretty much presented as, look, here's a galactic crap ton of information. We realize that maybe not all of this is for everybody, but here's the information. Make your own general educated decisions, off of that type of stuff. So he's not one to go, that's dumb as hell. I'm going to make a video about how you're dumb as hell, although he has done that before too. But a lot of his DVDs and stuff through Personal Defense Network is very open-ended. So you can go on there, and hell, he's got DVDs on there that he filmed like 10 videos or like 10 years ago, and he'll be like, yeah, don't watch that one. We've totally changed the way we look at it from there, you know. So,
well, and people that don't do that, they don't adapt and grow, then, you know, you got to know that looking back on the stuff you did 10 years ago, stuff's going to change, and you're not going to agree with everything.
Man, if you're not doing continuing education, you're an idiot.
Yeah, literally.
Literally.
You're just stupid.
Because you're just sticking the same
you're
shit.
Just dumb.
You know, and even if, you know, I make this joke all the time, but there's people that I don't like the way they do things. But I'll actually go and research their stuff, and I'll actually go to their seminars, or I'll watch all their videos so that I understand why I don't like the shit they do, as opposed to I hate his face, so I'm just going to tell everybody he's an idiot. You know what I mean? So even if you go to an 8-hour seminar and all you learned was that you didn't like anything they did, you learned that you don't like anything they did. You can gnaw that stuff out, and you can actually explain to people why you don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Continuing education is anything. I can sit down and watch a damn karate video, and I can learn something from it. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't get that.
Right.
CrossFit's same way.
Same way.
You know, or vice versa, where they go and they get their 16-hour piece of paper, and then they never do anything with it. You know, one of the two.
Yeah.
Continue education. Apply it. Test shit. Try to prove yourself wrong. You try to prove yourself wrong, that's when you start getting really good. You know, like I said, that's one of the reasons that I'm with FTF right now and the guys down in Charlotte, because literally going down and working with them, I go, oh, you know what? I never looked at it from that angle.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm growing. I feel like I'm learning from these guys.
Do you have like a specific example of that?
Well, you know what? A lot of the stuff we did today, a lot of the stand-up wrestling, it was really cool because we started, and Mark Slane was like this as well with us. We would get into certain techniques because Krav Maga, it's a series of concepts, but because everybody needs, I guess, a guidebook, everybody's got like manuals out, right? So when everybody looks at Krav Maga from the outside, they go, oh, it's this series of techniques. That's not a Krav Maga technique. That's not how it works. There's techniques to give you jump-off points, but Krav Maga is concept-based, you know what I mean? Most gyms fall into the habit of just teaching techniques. So we're going to talk about gun from front today, and I'm going to teach you the technique for dealing with a gun threat from the front, and then it kind of ends there. Well, what happens if I went to do my technique and I fucked up? You know, what happens if they grabbed onto me? What happens if I went to grab onto the gun and before I punched him, he punched me?
We stop and reset.
Yeah, exactly, right? Hand the gun back and let's do it all over again. So we started noticing that with USKMA and a lot with Mark, and we started messing around with it, but we didn't really have I wouldn't say we had really solid answers to it, you know what I mean? Like we were doing a pretty good job of figuring some of the stuff out. But the one thing that I noticed that Ryan did a lot of is day one, like you ask him, hey man, what's missing in Krav Maga? And the first thing he'll tell you is stand-up wrestling. Every time we screw something up, we're wrestling. You know what I mean? If I go in and I do a choke defense and I move your hands and then you just duck low and grab onto my waist, we're wrestling now. A bear hug is wrestling, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. If I go to do a block on a knife and I don't wrap it the way I'm supposed to by the book or by the manual, guess what? We're now in a fight over control over a knife, which is controlling a limb.
Wrestling.
I was just saying, who the hell's better at controlling a limb than wrestling? You know what I mean? So pretty much the majority of the stand-up wrestling that I now teach is a huge part of our curriculum now, is because we literally went and trained with him, or I actually had him up this last time, and I went, what's the one thing that my instructors could gain that you don't think they've seen anywhere else, and you know I haven't seen from all these guys I've trained with? And he went wrestling. And we started wrestling, and I will tell you right now, we fucking sucked at it. And across the room, I was going, oh, shit. Like, I was really good about beating people that were unskilled, but the second you have anybody that knows position and control, they move out of it. So, you know, we fell into this gap of, you know, it's all it is simplistic beat, and run away. But it's not always that easy. Right? That's one of the things we were talking about today. Why do I teach buck and roll and not teach the transition from standing to buck and roll? You know, what the hell happened from a standing position to me being on my back with somebody on top of me? Where did I fuck up? You know what I mean? How did they get on top of me? Other than the fact that I was unconscious or asleep or, you know, whatever the hell happened beforehand. But what happened? Where was that gap? Where was that gray zone? Right? And if I know a little more about wrestling, maybe I stay up. Maybe I don't go to my feet. Maybe they go to the ground and things like that. So it was really interesting to see that. He hasn't changed the system. It's still punches, elbows. It's still dealing with guns. A lot of the techniques and concepts are all there. It's Krav Maga. The concepts are there. But what he's done, and he said, look, we keep effing these scenarios up. Why aren't we fixing it?
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's – a lot of people have said that. He's one of the guys that I feel – and hell, I could be wrong. Who the hell do I know? But he's one of the guys that I feel actually has a good answer to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's and he does it in a very simplistic form. His curriculum is like half the size of the old curriculum I used to teach.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot more for, an instructor to handle and to present to people in smaller information. So that's one of the reasons I lean towards him. It's –
Well, it sounds a lot like I don't know if you remember when CrossFit started adopting like Rob Orlando's strongman stuff.
Yeah.
It's like anything that CrossFit kind of touches, it's like, oh, this is a hole.
Yep.
Like, let's fill it in. Let's make a certification for it. Let's clean it up. Let's add it, so that we can create the most well-rounded athletes.
Exactly.
So it sounds very similar.
Yeah, and he's doing a lot of that. You know what I mean? And I made the analogy earlier, but if you don't want to get stuck wrestling and you don't want to get stuck getting controlled, spend 50,000 hours figuring out how to wrestle.
Yeah.
Because if you spend 50,000 hours wrestling, then maybe I spend 1 second wrestling in a real-life fight, and I put myself in a better position anyway.
Yep.
The analogy I stole earlier is you don't teach people how not to drown by just telling them to stay away from water. You know what I mean?
That was a good one.
Yeah, teach him how to. Well, I stole that one straight from Hoover because he'll listen to this and then he'll go, "What the fuck, bro?" I'm like, no. That was a Hoover analogy, but it's true, right? I mean, I throw you in there, I teach you how to swim. We're pretty good as long as somebody doesn't, do the old Youngstown trick and give you a cement boot and put you on the bound of the thing. You're good to go. So it's the same idea, man. We're trying to teach people how to do the things they're not really good at, and they're doing a great job of it. I'm happy to be part of that family now, and hell, 2 years from now, maybe he'll kick me out. Who knows? But for now, we're good to go. We're learning a lot. We're progressing, and our system, our members are seeing huge gains out of it. It's good stuff.
Sweet. And those are your CrossFit members, right?
Well, CrossFit and Krav.
Right.
So the way we run our system, man, or our gym is honestly, if you're a member of Endeavor, you have full access to everything. So you can do fight, you can do CrossFit, anything you want. The only thing that's different is Project Lift, our barbell program, is a little bit of a separate fee, but that's what it is.
What else did I want to talk about? I'm trying to remember. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about the results that your CrossFit members.
Oh yeah.
And how we're just avoiding burnout by having access to both.
Yes. Yeah. Look, we had this kind of sidebar conversation, and that's there's ever since Reebok came on the scene, it's blown up, right? We've gone from like what used to be 300 or 500 affiliates to holy shit. When I was training at Rogue was the only affiliate. We were the second affiliate in Columbus when we opened up ours, and then now, holy shit, there's like 35, 36. Don't get me wrong, they're really great. We have a really tight-knit community in Columbus. A lot of the owners are very good friends. We support each other, things like that. But it's everywhere. It's blown up. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we were talking about was with this huge growth in other, more availability to CrossFit, other gyms, other flavors, you kind of get business owners or people worrying about like, oh shit, well, I have competition now. Well, one of the things that keeps a lot of these gyms open is understanding business. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. So retention's huge. We have, a lot of CrossFitters. They come in, they want to lose a little bit of weight. They're looking for something exciting. CrossFit's a blast. It's a lot of fun. You get to see gains and improvements. But even if you're programming amazing, things change. People change, right? So having other programs in your facility that help them to go, okay, you know what, man, maybe I'm burned out a little bit on CrossFit, but I'm gonna wander over to the other side. I'm gonna try this self-defense stuff, or I'm gonna wander over and I'm gonna do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I'm gonna take a week or two off CrossFit and I want to do a fight conditioning class. If you don't have that shit available to them, you might lose them to another place, or even worse, they might not train anymore.
Right.
You can look at it from a business standpoint, from retention. Awesome. We retained a member. It's more money into the business. That's great. All that stuff's fine and well. But, at the end of the day, if you really love what you're doing it because you want to help people. Now, the last thing I want to do is have somebody burn out on something they were doing amazing at and then stop training. Well, I'm over CrossFit. I'm not going to go back to a Globo gym. There's really no other fun, exciting things to get into. They haven't gotten the crack of powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting, things like that. They need something else to do. You keep them training, right? And then they'll probably bounce their way back into CrossFit, but it goes both ways.
Yeah. We
have plenty of guys on the fight side that go, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I kind of want something new, and please go take CrossFit.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, look, you're paying me X amount of dollars a month. You have access to all these programs. Why the hell are you only doing one?
Yeah.
Do
it
both. Do your self-defense. Do this. Extend your training out. Everything's a great workout. So it's good for retention. It's good from keeping people burned out. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're not training in some form or fashion how to fight, I mean, this day and age, man,
it's just a gaping hole in your physical training too, but in your safety, as well.
Everything. Because even if, you know what, and I said this on the way out with somebody that was leaving, but even if you were, I don't know, go into a boxing gym, right? It's not self-defense, but you're still learning something. You're still going across from somebody who wants to hit you. There's still a little bit of a stressor. You're still increasing your chances of at least understanding in a fight how you might act. You know what I mean? But if you're not doing any of that stuff and you just avoid it and this shit's never going to happen, you're screwed. It's 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So get your head wrapped around it. Train some fighting. You don't have to obsess about it. Don't walk around being paranoid. But you sure as hell better understand that there's a solid chance every time you leave your house that you can get attacked. It could be your last day. You can get in a car accident. We think about all these other things, but nobody ever thinks about, well, no, people don't get stabbed around me. People get stabbed everywhere. Especially, apparently, 2 blocks.
Right. Yeah. So, that's why we're moving.
Hilltop in Columbus, right? We're relatively, we aren't too far from Hilltop. Hilltop in Columbus, don't go there. Don't go there. Stay in Hilliard, stay in Dublin, go to Upper Arlington, move your way east. Don't go to Hilltop. Unless you really want to practice your self-defense skills.
Best self-defense, don't be there.
Don't be there.
Amen, baby.
Right.
Don't be there.
Last thing, and then we'll wrap this up. Talk a little bit about the Arnold, like we mentioned earlier, and then where people can find you on like social media, and then promote anything you want to promote.
I am all over social media. Some would call it social media whoring. So Arnold Classic, right? So Columbus, Ohio, we have the Arnold Classics, massive, the biggest multi-sport event ever. I mean, they have everything from like powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, and figure, all the way down to ping pong and archery, dude. Yep. I mean, it's everything. It's amazing. It brings, like, I think last year they had something like 300,000 people from out of town converged on Columbus just to go to this event. It's crazy.
More athletes than the Olympics.
Yes, more athletes than the Olympics.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's insane. It's crazy. I mean, I know. Lord, you look at just between the martial arts and what we do with the affiliate gathering and things like that. I mean, between just those 3 programs, including cheerleading, there's 1,700 athletes. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, absurd what they do there. It's put on by Classic Productions. It's a joint effort between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Larmer, which is Classic Productions. But it's huge. It's amazing. Reebok and CrossFit brought CrossFit to the Arnold. I'm going to misquote this, but I think like 6 years ago. It would have been 2010.
2010 was the first 2010 was
sectional.
The first
year, yeah. It was the first sectional, exactly. Oh God, I remember that one. You had to do sandbag sprints, and there was the weight vest deadlifts and burpees. Yeah, that one was miserable. But anyway, so 2010, right? So they brought it into there, and they hosted the first sectionals there. Rogue put it on. Rogue's actually the one who started it. Yeah, Bill actually was the one who did the first Arnold event. Yeah, misquoted. Bill, don't kill me. But yeah, so he brought that one in, and then it kind of got big, and then about like 3 years ago, it kind of died off a little bit. CrossFit got so busy.
Yeah.
Right. So you had the games, you got all, they were doing the invitationals, you had the Again Faster versus Rogue days and things like that, and so it kind of took a little bit of a back burner. Well, Bill actually asked us if we wanted to take it over because we've been doing a bunch of fun events. So 2 years ago now, we started taking over the Arnold, and what we tried to do was, instead of making it just everyday competition, we really want to make it about the community. So we try to bring in as many affiliates as possible. We try to represent as many affiliates as possible. We try to give different opportunities for competing. Each year we learn a little bit more and we add a little bit more. But this past year, they actually gave us our own Coliseum. So we literally had an entire Coliseum to ourselves. We had 320 athletes. I'd have to look at it again, but we hosted an individual competition, we hosted a 4-person team competition, and we hosted a 2-day 6-person team competition.
Jeez, that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, Lord in heaven. You wanna see stressed out, not sleeping, like freaking the hell out. Check out my staff and I about 2 months until about 2 days after, and we look like we're like kind of excited, but also ready to stab each other in the throat. It's the best test of a marriage and also a business partnership when you both want to stab each other after the Arnold's going on. But it's a blast, man. We had 320 some competitors. We had vendors coming in from all over the place. When we first started, a guy named Dale King, and then oh wow, I just blanked out for a second. Derek Carver and Wes, actually from Rogue American Apparel. they actually put together a team of adaptive athletes.
Oh, nice.
So they brought an entire team of adaptive athletes in, missing a leg.
That's some assembly required,
some
right?
assembly required, yeah.
That's awesome stuff.
That started at the Arnold 2 years ago. Those guys have done just amazing work with that program. So they started that, and those guys killed it. I'll tell you right now, they've competed twice now, 2 years in a row, against 30 or more completely able-bodied, no handicap at all individuals, and they have never come in last. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts to kind of see them go at it. So, but yeah, so they do that. We do a party, right? So we have an affiliate party afterwards on Saturday night. We did it down at North High Brewing. We just paid for a bunch of kegs. People came in, drank. There's a food truck outside.
Yeah.
Total blast, man. So it's just massive. It's huge. Arnold comes by and makes a big stink, and everybody freaks out. And, it's Arnold, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He's just excited. He's watching people lift. It's awesome, man. It's a blast. So we do that. It's in March every year. It's usually the first weekend in March. I believe this one coming up like March 6th through 8th or something like that.
It's coming up.
Could be misquoted. Yeah, holy shit. We already started planning it. Like, you start that shit the day it ends, you already start planning the next one. That's how stressful it is. But so we host that one, man. It's a really good time. It's called the Arnold Classic Affiliate Gathering or Affiliate Throwdown, Midwest Affiliate Throwdown. I apologize. It is not a sanctioned CrossFit event. I have to say that publicly. But no, it's run and is presented by CrossFit Endeavor. But it's the affiliate gathering. Rogue sponsors it every year, and they pull out all the stops, man.
Cool.
We get a ridiculous amount of brand new equipment, things to put together. So it's a lot of fun. We host that. We host a massive Olympic weightlifting competition every year in October, which is actually coming up here pretty soon, which we've already almost sold out, which is crazy. And then we host another one, Validus Games. So we run 3 really big events down at the Arnold in Columbus. If you're ever around, travel. It's a good time. Yeah. So, and then as far as me, man, you can find us Endeavor Defense and Fitness. We are EndeavorDCF.com. So ENDEAVOR, and that's Dog Cat Frank. As far as spelling that out, everybody always puts an S instead of an F. So it stands for Defense and CrossFit. So EndeavorDCF.com, Endeavor DCF on Instagram, Endeavor DCF on Twitter, Endeavor Krav Maga CrossFit on the Facebooks. And then, the Facebook.
Plural.
Yeah.
And then, you can find all my stuff. I'm Jannetti on Instagram. That's pretty much where I usually pump out most of our stuff. But we've got a YouTube channel where we dump BJJ videos, we dump Krav Maga videos, we dump mobility videos. We do a lot with mobility. We travel around, do mobility seminars or soft tissue seminars, really. Again, had an amazing opportunity to train with Kelly Starrett and Jeff Alexander and, follow a lot of Gray Cook and type stuff like that. So we're our gym, our motto is, we're a higher level of training. We never stop training. All of our instructors are going off, training with new people, immediately applying it, going into it. So if you find yourself in Columbus visiting, or if you're living in Columbus listening to this amazing podcast, come and check us out. We're doing a discount on startup right now. So if you want to come in and try CrossFit, or if you want to get a 2-for-1 intro for Krav, shameless self-promotion.
Yep. And tell them that you heard it on Biceps and Bullets, and you'll get...
Oh,
I don't
man,
know, whatever you're
All
already
right.
offering.
A firm handshake.
We'll do this.
All right, thumbs up.
We'll do this. If you're listening to this podcast and you call in or email and you heard it on Biceps and Bullets, we'll give you 50% off your first month's membership.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's legit.
So if
There
you
you
come
go.
in and sign up, or if you want to do a startup, we'll give you 50% off. And I'm going to have to text Rob after this and say, hey, by the way, we just made an offer on Bullets and Biceps. But yeah, man, no, we'd love to have you come out and train, man, and hell, maybe the next time I come out we'll do it. Yeah.
All right. You got anything else? Jake?
Good job today.
Jake from State Farm?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate Jake from
It
State
was
Farm.
very informative.
Good, I'm glad. That's what I'm looking for, man. And especially coming from, law enforcement officers, prison guards, people that are frequently dealing with, interpersonal kind of
Conflict.
awesomeness,
Yeah.
and having to deal with it. It's really, really cool to get good positive feedback and say, man, that made sense. This shit works. This is something I can actually apply.
It's applicable, yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't, then I'd be going, well, shit, and I go back to the drawing board to figure it out. So,
Well, cool. All right.
yeah.
We will see you next time.
Yes, you will.